And now it's my pleasure to welcome in one of the 10 most visible people on the planet Earth, Don King. Welcome to The Natural, Don.
I'm really happy to be there with you, Greg, but it's under very sad and sorrowful conditions, but it's nice to hear your voice.
Same here, brother. Don, take me back to the moment when you heard that your good friend Michael Jackson had suffered a massive heart attack and died.
I was devastated. I come out of the dentist's office, and on the car, on the radio, it says Michael Jackson has a massive heart attack, and so massive heart attack. So I think a guy must be off. So by the time I get home, then I turn on CNN, and then I get the news that he had a heart attack, and I was just simply devastated. That's why I didn't talk to anybody yesterday or today. In fact, you were the first one I spoke to on this, because I love Michael Jackson and I love the family, and it's a wonderful family. It was the first family of the black community, and it was something that meant a lot to me to see family unity that the Jacksons projected, and with the wonderful mother and father of Kate and Joe Jackson, and how they raised all their kids, from Jermaine, Tito, Randy, Jackie, Marlon, Janet, and Reby. It was just marvelous things to be associated with them, and like everyone else, your prayers go out, for their, the sympathy, the condolences, or whatever you would call it, because he left an unfillable void in the world. But he was a people person, and that's really what it's really all about. And Michael Jackson was one of those guys that come from a family and was family unity, and he was an extension of the family. And it's so important to me, and many, it should be to all African Americans, because in our country, land of liberty, is the family unit was destroyed. It was stripped through slavery, that peculiar institution, and it's always been something where it has been homes that don't have the father and the mother, be single parent homes. And so this family, really stood out all during the time of him coming up in the last 20, 30 years, that he been able to, the music that could be communicating to the rest of the world and crossing over black and white alike. It was a marvelous feeling, and to see it and to be a part of the evolutionary process and growth of this type of development of bringing America together, white and black alike together.
Don, did you feel any special bond with Michael, even though you were 25 years plus older than Michael? Did you feel a bond, Michael coming from the hard-scrabble streets of Gary, Indiana, and you coming from the hard-scrabble streets of Cleveland? Did you feel an extra bond with Michael?
It was like an umbilical cord, man. Like giving birth to something that come out that the birth of a nation. That Michael represented, because he represented family. Joseph and Catherine, I pay homage and tribute to them during the crisis of segregation, separation, divisiveness. This family stayed together, and regardless of what anyone would say or do, families have disagreement. That's what family love is all about. The man exuded love and magnetism, and we used to have some very, very heated and long discussions because of this way or that way about what life is, and he never could get over that they would never give him his recognition of being the number one. That's why he would work for perfection all the time. And I told Michael then that you never would know how really big you are. I said, I feel that you're the greatest thing on earth as far as entertainment and being able to do this. And I said, let me tell you why. And he said, why? I said, because you got Al Jolson, you got Fred Astaire, you got James Brown, you got Wilson Pickett, you got all of these people that are part of that, and your body speaks as well as your throat. Your voice sings, your body speaks. Everything that you do is something that people can relate and identify with. I say, so you're a master entertainer, but you're also a master communicator. You can relate and identify to all people, whether race, color, creed, and religion. And you talk about love. You say, well, music is the ribbon that ties humanity together. I thought that was so profound, and this young man would do that, so would be an extra bond, but it was the teaching and the upbringing, of this family, and this guy is an extension of that family unity, and he took it from demonstrating that a family unit could be together in America, and they passed the torch to Barack Obama. Barack Obama is another family man. This is what you got to understand when you come from torn families and you come from the image and stereotype image that has been perpetrated, in my great country of America. Lazy, lethargic, can't rise to the occasion, all lie, cheat, and steal, shiftless, worthless, no account. You know what I mean? With this type of image, is any wonder why you would even get out of bed? You know what I mean? So it's a miraculous thing to see this country moving forward like it's doing, and I pay tribute to the American people, and especially these youngsters, these kids, white and black alike, in the schools and the campuses. I love them all. I think this is the greatest nation in the world, and when you see this kind of communication, relation, and identification, working in unity and solidarity is what brings an African American to the White House. I mean, this is miraculous. If you don't know what this really means, just go back and think just a few short years ago of how it used to be. You know what I mean? And so you see, when you have a Michael Jackson through music and communications and through death, which we are very, very sorry for. Look what the man is doing. People are coming together. Everybody waiting with bated breath to find out what this one's going to say, that one's going to say. And the communications, that's success. You have to pass it on. And so it's a thing here that, Greg, I tell you, I was deeply, deeply devastated and hurt to see this happen, but this is life, and so it's going to happen. So now what do? We got to be able to work toward the unfinished task of continuing to bring people together in this great nation called America, because it's the greatest country in the world.
Don, does this make you think about your own mortality?
You know what? You always got to think about that. You're born to die. So what you're going to do is what you do between the dash. If Michael Jackson is born in such a time, dash, and leave at such a time, it's the dash that counts. You know what I mean? The birth is something that is the humanism is what really counts. So the birth is there. Now, what do you do with that human life that you have in that dash? How do you make it work? And then that's what happens. And then when you leave, you be just like you see here now, where everyone is trying to find ways and means to try to describe and say something. The man lived a glorious life, but he was very lonely because it's always lonely at the top. And when you find yourself in being mortal, you know what I mean, you have to be able to deal with what can you do to help others. And so everybody was grabbing on Michael, and Michael he carried the torch. And now, it's a thing here, his music will live forever, his spirit will live forever. So he made a great contribution to mankind, and he did it in a manner that no one can deny. So all of the stuff that they try to do to try to find any ways, shape, or means to denigrate or try to dehumanize him is pure folly.
Don,
the man was a great man, he was a genius, you know what I mean? And he came from a family of two humble persons, in Catherine and Joseph Jackson. And they raised their family, they raised all those kids, and they're just wonderful, marvelous people, and I love them both.
Don,
I love the whole family because I love America, and they are pure Americana, and they took America to the rest of the world. Every country that you see standing by with their trucks and waiting for every signal and everything that's happening, that's a goodwill message from the greatest nation in the world.
Don, I want to thank you for coming on at a very difficult time.
Thank you so very much for having me, and God bless America, and God bless the American people.
Don King, remembering Michael Jackson. And that's an exclusive here on The Natural. We end every show with a quote. Today's quote is from Italian writer and magistrate Giovanni Falcone. The quote is as follows: "He who doesn't fear death dies only once." I'm Greg Marotta, and this concludes The Natural. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.